especially about the back squat and front squat, but in general, I want to give you a few information about squatting in general, because there's a few things you really need to be aware of to do the movement properly. First things first, your stance. It is important that you find your individual stance. There's people, they squat with their feet being right below the hip, maybe right below the shoulder. Your toes are turned out a little bit, feet almost parallel. I tend to squat a little bit wider because my mobility here gives me the best squatting position without putting too much stress on my body, because here I can squat all the way down and still keeping a great form. When you squat, try to grab the floor. Don't push your weight too much on the heels, because otherwise the balance is off and you kind of like almost falling back. The only thing you can do here now is push your hip back. That is not a very good position. So get your foot on the floor, try to grab the floor, and then from here we're squatting all the way down below the knees. And yes, below the knees, because when you squat below the knees, the pressure point from the knees moves to the hip, and there's nothing bad in squatting all the way down. I'm not a huge fan in giving the cue, oh yeah, push your knees all the way to the outside, because what people then tend to do is they kind of like lose contact with the floor, and then they start squatting down like this and then back up, and they're losing contact with the floor. Obviously, you should not squat like this when the knees, with the knees collapsing to the inside. I try to tell people, keep track with your toes so that your knees stay straight over your toes, all the way down, all the way up. Next thing, try to tighten your abs. We're not talking about, oh, I need to show my six-pack because we're at the beach, because that's too much tension. Try to pull your belly button in. That makes your abs work and fixate the spine so that we're not either overarching or rounding the back too much when squatting. I would say, let's load a tiny bit weight on the barbell because it looks a little bit empty, and then I will show you the back squats, and everything I'm telling about the back squat applies to the front squats as well. Thank you guys. So, the back squat. When you do the back squat, something that is very important, when you go below the bar here, you really want to get your hips right below the weight, and then from here lift up the weight. Okay, that's a proper form to get the weight out of the rack. From here you take a step back and you find your squat stance. Like I said before, I like to stand a little bit wider, so I'm putting my feet a little bit wider and opening my toes a little bit. I'm pulling my belly button in, I'm grabbing close, I'm not grabbing here on the outside, I'm grabbing on the inside, and then what I'm doing now is I'm squatting all the way down with my heel, with my feet flat on the floor, grabbing the floor, and my abs are still tight, and then from here I'm squatting back up. Important, my knees and my hip is moving at the same time. I'm not pushing my hip back first and then my knees forward. No, my hip and my knees are moving at the same time, and I'm going up. Like I said before, try to keep track with your toes. You don't want to stand up like this. This is not a good form. So from here, keep your knees outside right over your toes, and then squat all the way up. That was the back squat. Now we're talking about the front squat and having the bar in the front rack position. It is very important to have a proper front rack position, because otherwise, again, too much stress on your body, stress on your body, because if you're putting too much stress on your body, it leads to injury, and that's something we definitely don't want to have, okay? So, what does it mean to have a proper front rack position? You know what? Let's have a look. As you can see here, I am lifting up the barbell with a nice and proper front rack position. That means my elbows are nice and high, arms are parallel to the floor, and from here I can squat down all the way properly and stand up. Few more things. I really don't want to see the elbows down here, because trust me, if you're squatting down and you're touching your elbows with your knees, this is leading to injury and it will hurt. Trust me. So, Keep the elbows nice and high and then do the squats. What you should actually do is when you start the squats, try to actually start the squats with lifting up your elbows and then going all the way down. Same thing happens when you go back up from the squat. Instead of letting the elbows drop, I am kind of like pushing the elbows up and then standing up straight, because with that I am not losing any tension in my body. My upper body looks straight, my upper spine looks straight, and we are avoiding injury and we're having a great form. I hope you could see what a proper front rack position looks like. We talked about air squats, back squats, and front squats today, okay? So all these 3 squats, include them into your training to make your legs grow, make them stronger. It is very important, quality before weight. So always fix your mobility issues first before start loading the barbell. If you then feel comfortable, it's absolutely fine to increase the weight even more, have more reps or maybe less sets and heavier weight, depends on the programming you're following at the moment. I think there's nothing more to say than have a great form, squat as much as you can, because with strong legs you can transfer that power to other exercises and movements, and that supports your overall output. Nothing more to say than 3, 2, 1, lift.